I can't. Let's talk tomorrow.
We're a little bit late, Scott, sorry.
All right, I'd like to call the December 4th, 2018 USB regular meeting in Woodland Park here in the fine city of Portage, Indiana. So if we'd all stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call roll, please, Chris.
Member Modesto. Member Clem. Here. Member Williams.
Here.
Member Cannon. Here. Member Zilli. Here. Member Lynch. Here. Member Prisco.
Here. Before we get started, I would just like to take a few minutes of moment of silence for President Bush, who served this country.
Amen.
Decorated Navy pilot at the age of 22, served our country and was a gallant president. So if you bow your heads in silence. All right, thank you. All right, the first item, we have some minutes that need to be approved from, which meeting is this? The 30th?
October 30th and November 20th.
And then, yeah, we have two sets of minutes that were in Dropbox.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Minutes approved. We also have several claims that need to be addressed. We have the docket packet. If you had a chance to review that. We also have a West Side Pay app. Is that the final app for the West Side? Yes, no?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
I have it as the final app.
Yes.
The $57,051.82.
Correct.
And then we just also have one additional one, which was handed to me for Fifth Avenue. It's not quite final the pay app, but that project was budgeted at $143,851. And this pay app is for $128,412.55. So there may be one additional small final pay app. So I'll entertain a motion for the docket, the regular docket, the West Side final pay app, as well as the Fifth Avenue pay app. Second. Is there a motion?
I'd like to do the fifth separate if we could, because it's
Okay.
going to come up with some
All
possible
right,
some more money
that's fine.
down the road.
We can address the regular docket and the final pay app as one motion. So
Make a motion to approve the docket and the
West Side.
final app for the West Side.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, we now have the Fifth Avenue pay app, which I just read the figures. I'll read them again. It's for $128,412.55, and it was budgeted at $143,851.
Make a motion to pay the current amount on your 128,000.
Yes.
Is this the full amount, or are we expecting to pay 144?
There'll be one more. There should be one more pay app, Dan.
Yeah.
Yes.
The final. There's a second. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed, same sign. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing that. Engineers report?
Engineers report. That's what's next.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no engineers report. Reports on projects. You have anything?
There's really no updates. There's not much going on with any of the projects at this point. The building, last I heard, and Sam's talking, so I'll look at Courtney. Have you all moved into it now?
We're beginning that process with our employees this week. We got the parking lot done last week, and so
And the only other big project is the biosolids pad. We received an update from American Structure Point, I think last week, 2 weeks ago. Has anything changed out there, Don?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll talk about when he talks about the plan.
Yep.
So we'll hold off that. Thank you, Don.
What about
Didn't mean to cut you off.
What about
The
Park
car
Road?
ones.
I was gonna bring it up. You got there, yeah.
I was gonna say, the Carlins aren't here, so
Right.
did that project get done? Dan, did the Carlins project get done? They're not here.
Yes, it's done.
Oh,
And also Mulberry's gonna be done tomorrow, it's just for me tomorrow from Mulberry.
Thank you.
So if their project got done, we got a sizable amount of rain. Did the drywalls work?
They're not here.
I guess I'd rather not assume that that is correct. Can we verify that they work for? For
I
our-
did not get a call, sure.
Okay.
Were you out there when it was all finished? It was how?
Well, yeah, I mean, when it got done, yeah, I was out there, but I mean,
We haven't followed up and checked the,
no, not really, I mean, not really. We haven't, no. I mean, we have guys that go around and do leaves and that, and they didn't report anything either.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I would think in the future, if we had something that's been a 25-year problem and we fixed it, we'd go check on it. I mean, I don't know.
right, yeah, the guys go out, when we do storm drains, they check all the storm drains, and they never reported anything. The only problem we had was at Parkview, Saturday to Sunday night, it flooded again. So, our on-call person had to go out there and actually clean out the drain, because all the leaves went cover the drain.
All right, so we do have, as well, under reports of on projects, a change order for Parker Bryant. Do you want to explain this one, Dan?
All right, these, actually, this is both, there's two of them here. The one is the overrun, underrun, well, wait, that's the third one, let me go back to the second one. This one is the one, basically, a lot of this, this whole change order 2 is all because of the NIPSCO issues we had. That was where they had to do the as you see, additional excavation, and then, when we went over their line because they couldn't fix it, we had to go and tear that back out and then come in, and once they fixed it, then we redid the road in that portion on Parker Street. So that's the second one. And like I said, that's basically all NIPSCO's. And then the last one is actually the overrun, underrun change order. And we had, there's quite a bit on here, and as you can see, it actually came out to only a $26,000 overrun. If it wouldn't have been for NIPSCO problems, there wouldn't have been there wouldn't have been much at all as far as change orders go. But that's the second and third, and then all I have to do is get the final payouts, and that job will be complete.
Can I ask you something, Dan? Didn't we like send, back charge them for like already up to $90,000? Have we gotten any?
It was more than that, actually.
Sure,
Yeah,
I was just throwing that out there.
I actually did send it to, I actually called and was told what to do. I sent it to him, but then actually the mayor and I think John Hannon actually had Rick Kalinsky. He's their like public representative.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had him in, and they actually discussed it with him. Now, I haven't heard anything about that meeting, since then, but he actually had him in there to talk to him about that.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Motion to
Entertain a
approve.
motion on Parker Bryant, change orders.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Sorry about
While
that.
you're there,
It's for you. Want me to answer it? Yes, President. Yes, he's right here. Hold on. Scott.
you're on.
You made it funny.
It's all right to make it funny once in a while.
I'll tell you what, Dan, I'm gonna miss your laugh. I'm gonna have to stop by and see
Hey, anytime you want. Basically everything's pretty much the same. Mulberry's getting done tomorrow, like I said, that should be all completed tomorrow. We'll have some lane closures and actually closed from Monier to Willow Creek. That section will be closed. We'll have 2 lanes going southbound on Willow Creek that will be closed, so we'll only have a through lane. And then the left turn lane going northbound on Willow Creek will be closed because obviously we have Mulberry westbound closed. And then the through lane on Mulberry going westbound east of Willow Creek will be closed, so people could only take a left there. So that's how that's going to work tomorrow. Guys are coming in, we're setting up the traffic control for them starting at 7, and they're supposed to be here at 7, so hopefully they get started by 7:30. They said they should be done by 3, so that'd be all complete.
What they're doing on Samuelson right now, they had that down to 1 lane on either side of the 1-lane bridge on Samuelson.
Yeah, there was an article in the paper about it
It's a
today.
utility project.
So they're tearing up the brand new road again. And all of our driveways.
Ken knows it.
Google, man.
Dan, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding Fallen Timbers, did the USB have any share in the cost of Fallen Timbers?
No.
No, because I know that there was storm.
Well, yeah, what happened is basically the road got tore up and then I was called in because they said there's some issues with the storm. I went and checked it and there was. Went through several different scenarios because it's so shallow there. Went through several different scenarios trying to get it fixed. Actually had Adam go out there and pothole all the utilities out there to see what was in the way. The NIPSCO line was actually laying over the top of one of our pipes. So at that time then we went, because we were just going to replace it in kind. So after that then we said, okay, we can't do that. Now we're going to move it to the road. So it was just, it was kind of a nightmare. But as far as I know, it was nothing that was going to be paid for by the utility as far as I know.
When did you guys get called out to take a look at the stormwater?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. After it was all tore up, that's all I know. That's all I can tell you.
So they never called you before they tore up the
No
road?
one called me before to ask me anything about the storm over there.
So like August, right?
Whenever it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was August. But my thing is now, how much did it cost to pave that and all those driveway ends, and now you're going to tear it all out in the spring? I mean, that was a terrible expense.
Yes, I agree. I believe that, well, I think there's those numbers, I don't really know.
It was like 260-something thousand.
Yeah, that was.
They had to prove it. The whole thing is nuts because
It's a city job.
I sat in a meeting with the administration in April, and they identified that there was a stormwater problem in Fallen Timbers.
Right.
And I sat in another meeting, right in this room, a public meeting in July, and sat right there, and they identified that there was again a stormwater issue, and the new stormwater board was being made aware of it because they were going to be asked to pay for it. And then they tear up the road,
Right.
and then act surprised to find that there's this stormwater issue.
Right.
And now we spend $250,000 to put it back up. Meanwhile, these people have no sidewalks, their
And
driveways are all
they can't even
torn
get to
up.
their mailbox.
And we're gonna have to rip it all back up in the spring and redo it again. The whole thing is nuts.
Yeah.
And we knew in April that it was a stormwater issue. And it's shocking that no one asked you guys to come out until after we tore up the road. That's what's crazy about that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, because most of the time, whenever we do a complete reconstruct, I try to ask to be called, because then I'll send out, like Adam and then to Jeff, all the lines, and then Jared goes out and televises and tells me what's going on. So that's usually what happens this time it did.
So Dan, the people that are calling me about the tons of water in front of their mailbox, they can't even get to their mailbox. When I called into the city, I was told they would send a vac truck out to suck up the water.
No one informed me of that.
You know.
Wow.
Directly.
Yeah, but there's no curb to take the water to the storm structure.
There's nothing
That's the
there.
problem.
It's just,
That's-
I drove down it the other day after that rain, and it's like, oh my God, those people,
Right.
their mailboxes, they can't, there's no way they can even get to them.
So when we get these complaints, do you recommend just calling you all directly?
I'm not trying to laugh, but yeah, I mean, I guess
Okay.
that would be it, I'm just laughing.
I mean, is that a better solution than,
You can, but I think you should direct that to who's overseeing the project. That's what I think. And then.
Who's that?
Yeah, who is overseeing
And
that?
then Sandy. And then if she wants to contact us, because that really should be the chain of command, it's kind of her project, so it should go to her, and then she.
but if a resident, if we need to get water out in front of their mailbox, we need to do it.
I understand. Well, you might as well, we really call anyway.
I think there's a gross lack of communication within the departments here though, because you can say Sandy, but there's miscommunication with her too. So it's like,
Right.
you guys all need to be communicating with each other and that's not happening.
One more question, Dan. Did you say that's gonna be paved tomorrow at Mulberry and that's gonna be done? Or what are you referring
Slip
to?
line, it will be CIPP.
Okay,
It will be fixed.
is there any paving involved?
And then, well,
Okay.
there's a hole right there right now. But worst case scenario, my guys go out there and just have to do a little concrete patch in it, worst case scenario.
Okay.
So cause I don't know if the plants are still open for sure. I know they were talking about closing early.
Depending on weather, I'm sure. They just patched over in Bryant, so.
Yeah, Reese Riley might be
Yeah.
open, but that might be cold patch too, though, Pat.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
So I'd have to find out,
Yeah.
so.
And then also I have a question for you too. Remember that resident I mentioned to you a few times over off of Mulberry and Bryant there?
Yes.
Have we ever come to?
Well, actually, I took, Dan Malarick and Brian Schofield went out there and looked at it, and they believe they could do something. But I gotta have code enforcement go out there because someone has all kinds of debris back there.
Okay, that was the last couple months though.
Right.
Have you ever
Right.
contacted, ever addressed any of this or?
I'm sorry, I did not get a hold of John Soroka yet.
Okay.
So, but that's gotta be moved first before we can do anything, so.
Okay, I'll call him tomorrow.
And then I did talk to, I did talk to Mark and he said he'd come up with a plan to try to get that done. So. Okay.
Anything else for Mr. Commenda?
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks.
Our plant report. Don?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dan.
So I'll speak on behalf of Brian. The update he gave to us today, to give to you would be, the pad. Had that 7-day breaks come back with strengths we expected. Full strength is likely to be achieved by the 28-day results. The Steedman has been working on the final items and punch list items were given, and most are expected to be completed this week, with any they'll wrap it up next week. We have the first half of the pad wall has been poured, and on Friday, the second half, Thursday or Friday of this week, they'll do the second half of the wall. And that's all Brian had for this week. We do have the Phoenix, who is the representative for the gravity belt thickener, is in the plant putting everything together on the thickener, and we'll be expecting training tomorrow.
All right.
For our employees, and we'll be firing that unit up.
Good deal.
So, 8 years, it's now here. Things are gonna get rolling.
8 short years.
8 short years. So, that's where we're at. For the plant itself, we are in full compliance for the month of November. We have hit a bump in the road with our biological treatment. We're experiencing some higher solids at our secondary effluent and our final effluent. we are under winter limits, so they do give us a little margin to work in. Our opinion is, of course, the cold weather that came in has changed our biological activity. We see this every once in a while where we get bumps. So it's been a rocky 3 weeks for us. But we're looking at the bugs every day to make sure that things are starting to make some movement. We're anticipating, with biological, you just never can tell sometimes. So if there was any question you had about that.
I don't have any. Does the board have any questions about the bugs? Okay.
So, one last comment I had. Today we found a business. We were called, our field division was out looking at manholes in a section of the city, and they smelled diesel fuel. And so they gave Carl and myself a shout. So we went out there and we observed a milky discharge, which under our pre-treatment ordinance and our ordinance, that isn't allowed. So went into the business and stopped the discharge. So if you do hear anything, we have been in contact with them, told them they need to take care of this ASAP and get it. Evidently,
what was
they
it?
have floor drains.
What was it?
It's kind of preliminary. I didn't want to mention the name of the industry yet.
No, I mean, what was the ingredient?
Well, we're not sure if it was a diesel. They were cleaning yesterday, their floors. So it goes to the floor drain, into their system, and their system evidently is pumping it out.
Yeah, sure.
So you're gonna stay on top of that one?
Yeah, because it was smelled at the plant all the way, and our headworks built up.
Jeez.
And so,
some heavy chemicals, I'm sure, yeah.
We already have some biological things going on. We don't need a spill to actually hamper our biological system. So we're working with that individual place. We're contacting each other. So I think they quite understand. It's an incidental finding. I mean, sometimes by accident we find things. We're looking and you find it. Things you might be going after for months. Other than that, I didn't have anything else, unless you had something.
Don, I have a question.
Yes.
What is our capacity at this point with the sewer plant?
The capacity today?
Yeah.
We are at 104% right now. Just that little rain has sent us over capacity.
Okay, so normally,
That's why I was
what
asking.
is our capacity? And
Our capacity rating daily average flow is 4.95, and we're doing about 5.2 MPD every day right now. And that's with the little rain we got.
on a normal average day, what do you do?
We were down to 3.5 MPD about 2 weeks ago. So some pumps and all that are contributing to, the people that are hooked up illegally are contributing to those factors.
Absolutely.
That's where we're at, 104%.
All right, Don. Any other questions for Don?
No. Thanks, Don.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. See you down the road.
Can we clarify real quick? I think Sue would agree. An employee's name was mentioned a little bit ago, Sandy at whatever. I've not found any info, and I don't think you have either, that she has had any fault in any of the fallen timbers issue. And I wanted to kind of clear that up because her name was brought up, and I didn't want her to be negatively impacted because
she's great.
she was not the engineer on the project, so I
No.
don't think she's had any.
She's very responsive when I
Absolutely.
send her an email. she always gets back with me.
So actually, it was an engineer that was overseeing the project.
Who designed the
Who
project?
designed it. Right. Point well made. Thank you, Chris. We have some unfinished business. I was not at the last regular USB meeting, but I understand there's some discussion that Mr. Ketwig had brought before the board, and there was maybe not total clarification of what he was seeking. So, Mr. Ketwig, I ask you to come forward, introduce yourself, provide your address, and we'll go ahead and revisit this issue.
I'm Dan Ketwig, 2922 Winterberry Road. I have a paper one. Sure. Maybe I'll just explain it a little bit better. Yeah.
Baby
food.
I didn't wait for you to do it, I just.
Well, nobody else is here, so.
The paper you see, it's a flood zone that happened in 2015 to the area of Anderson Street and Kimberly. So if you kind of, it's hard to get everyone to look up at the corner of the roads right there though. There's a ditch that runs right there, Lindbergh Ditch. And if you look at kind of AE up at the right hand corner, I put a little arrow. The ditch is supposed to run all the way to the other ditch and tie in. And farmers out here, or whoever lived here before, actually filled the ditch in and stopped it from flowing. They put a 12-inch culvert in there, and it's supposed to, at minimum of anything, it's supposed to be a 42-inch, according to Doolin Group. But somehow this got filled in. So the ditch backs up now, and it floods everyone out. So it put everybody in this flood zone. So in a meeting a while back, it was asked about the Doolin Group to get some information what could get this fixed. By the way, on the second E down at the bottom right here is my property where I'm building my house. I own that 5 acres right there. That's for my personal home. I can't build that. I've been waiting 6 months to get a permit. I'm in the flood zone. I can't build my own house. So if you skip to to your third page, it'll say heck model on it. This is what the Doolin Group has got for the city of Portage. To get you fixed, to get everybody out of this flood zone. What they're gonna do is tell you exactly what we all have to do, and he'll do all the numbers and everything. Now, this number was based on being 5 months ago. I met with them approximately 3 weeks ago, and now that we're in the winter time, is the proper time to do it because there's no leaves on your trees, there's no bushes, and it'll probably save you guys approximately $15,000. Anywhere from 10 to 15, he said he could probably drop the price because it is a Halloween thing and what they're doing. So that number could drop a lot. But that gets you guys all the info and everything to get people out of their flood zone. This water comes up to these people's houses that's on Kimberly right here. Actually, it's washing my bridge out. Part of my bridge, we can't get trucks or nothing across to my property anyways now. I don't even feel safe taking my truck sometimes. I keep throwing it in, but anytime we get heavy rains for a couple of days, the ditch backs up all the way to the neighbor's yards right now. Now we did get a little bit of help and got some weeds cleaned out of it and stuff like that, and got working with the city, but it overfloods everybody.
So your bridge is the little red between the A and E. There's a red.
Yes, that's my roadway going in. Yes, exactly right.
Right.
So
it goes up into this property that looks like it has a house or something.
And if you you can see the top blue by Kimberly. All 4 of those houses actually still flooded right up to their door. And I know that all 4 of the guys have come to the city and made complaints and stuff. So I know a confusion of before that I've heard was, well, we don't help subdivisions. And I kind of understand that. So if you look at your next page, that's the Ketwig subdivision that we do. I pay $96,000 to get my part done. Again, this year, all you guys are doing is your HEC model to get us out of flood zone so that we can do anything at all, otherwise everyone's at a standstill and stuff. And so many of these people don't even realize that they're in a flood zone. If they get flooded all the way out, they never had to have flood insurance. They don't know in 2015 this got changed. No one's been notified or aware of it. And nor did I feel like I should go and tell them all and have an uproar where everyone come to visit you guys, you know, I didn't want to do that and let other people, so.
How expensive is flood insurance for these folks if they had to buy it?
You know,
I would have to do it.
I don't know, but you can't even build on it anymore. You see all the flooding everywhere, on TV all over the place. It's hard to even get flood insurance anymore, let alone, you know, there's a lot of companies don't even want to do it. Now they're even talking about changing your sump pump stuff, not to, doing this with, insurance. So it's a real difficult matter, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was clear that what we're looking for right now, the people and myself, because I'm moving there, is to help to get us out of the flood zone so we can at least build, and the people that got existing homes there, it comes down where, because it's up to their house right now, so they're not in a flood zone, they're on it. The corners actually hit them two people's property, so, and the water goes right up to them with the ditch the way it is right now.
So what you're asking for is this board's approval to spend up to $57,600 to get that set of property out of the flood zone?
That's correct. And that's to the Dueling Group. This is all from them. Charlie and them all met, and they've come out, did their surveys, and like, again, we're hoping not to spend that much money. You know, we are, this is the right time to do it because, like I said, there's no leaves, there's no bushes. It's the time to shoot your graves and get them in.
Just for clarity, this doesn't get you out of the flood zone. It tells you what to do to get out of the flood zone, right?
It will. Charlie shoot all the numbers and everything, and then he's going to tell us that the pipe that's been buried illegally. He's going to tell us what we have to do to get that fixed. We kind of already know. You know, we've shot some stuff, and we know. We really need it. It's supposed to be an open ditch. You're not supposed to close. No, that's a regulated ditch. Regulated ditch, if anybody doesn't know, the county or the city takes care of a regulated ditch. We are a regulated ditch. That was filled in, I'm positive, with nobody knowing about that, for a farmer to get his tractors through there to farm that field. Who did it, no one knows, but that ditch needs to be open. We don't want any covered ditches through there because all the water drains off your property. There is no drains through there. There's no field drains. There's nothing there. So everything needs to drain into that ditch to flow properly. What this is also causing is over on, I believe it's Destiny, is that, in which we walk that. When this backs up to our trails right there, we have a big bridge that goes over it that walks across our trails. I'm going to say it's about a 4-foot, 5-foot hole in there, bridge, you know. You can get underneath of it. If you go to the other side, it's washed everything out over there also. So it's not just this area that needs it. This goes back to this area too, to try to get Destiny, all them people from their flood. And what we found is some of their drains is up higher. The storm drains are higher than the ground. You have to get a 1.5 foot of water before it starts draining anywhere. So
I think it's kind of like getting, like when you're trying to appeal your property tax and you get your own appraisal. It's kind of like getting our own flood zone appraisal that we can then go appeal to the government to say, please update the maps.
Now, to give a little heads up on it, just talk with Charlie, just trying to get a scenario where we think we're going to have to go with the situation is when he does all this, we know the ditch is going to have to be cleaned out. So this erosion has gone through. We're going to have to clean it out. We're going to have to change that pipe. That cost, we don't know, would have to get an estimate once Charlie does his shots. It may not be much because if we open this back up, what it's going to do for us, because the other ditch running, if you see the dark blue line, that flows really good. We walked it, we did our whole thing. We spent, I know I spent about $12,000 going through it to check everything out so we knew where we was going with everything myself already. So that all flows good, everything. Our problem is mostly what they've done here and then right over there behind the trails. We have an issue right there with blockage. So.
All right,
Have you talked to anybody in the county about this? Like if we pass that, then, have you looked at maybe getting county assistance and getting that drain?
I did call the county and actually I talked with the answer too. I called the county and the county said it's a city thing that you gotta, from what I've looked up and what I understand, county is supposed to actually take care of that ditch.
Yes.
It's a regulated ditch. But it takes you guys to get the county to do it. I can't say, hey, guys, this ditch is full because we're in the city. If we was out the county, we could go directly, but we can't because we're to you guys. It is in the city, and therefore the city has to say, hey, we need some help with this ditch. Now, they won't control nothing with the heck thing, what I understand, but they could give assistance on cleaning this ditch and making it proper.
Have you talked to Jeremy Rebus, Stan? Because he's our county council person.
Okay, no, I have not talked to Jeremy at all.
Well, you need to talk to him because he's been helping us with other, you know, it might help you out.
Okay, okay. And that's pretty much, guys, where that stands with that.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize up to $57,600 for the HEC model report.
I'll
Second that.
Any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay.
Talk to Jeremy.
Thank you. I will get in contact with them tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the Willow Creek Watershed Property Acquisition. Who's speaking on that?
Wait, hang on.
Transition plan.
Oh, I was trying to avoid it.
I understand completely.
Thank you, sir.
We talked about this primarily in executive session. This is a result of the agreement from the mayor's lawsuit where he sued the USB. And so I would ask for approval of the transition plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the transition plan.
Second.
Any discussion on the transition plan? Okay.
I think it's
Roll call,
nuts.
please.
It's nuts, by the way. This is nuts. We're spending $250,000, not us. The mayor spent $250,000 to do this.
To do this.
In attorney fees.
Yes.
And we just went through all these projects that we need to do, and we wasted $250,000 on his attorneys. It's to do what?
Probably to get us to the point we could have resolved by ourselves. All right.
Sorry.
There's a motion on the second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All right, transition plan approved. Now,
I have a question.
yes, sir.
I know that the escrow was set aside for legal fees at some point in time, back in, I don't know when that was, February or March. I believe the stormwater impervious fee was set in escrow. Yes. At that point in time, it was discussed that it was going to be used for legal fees. Thank God we did that. Where does that, does that escrow end now? Do we no longer have that in escrow? How's that?
Well, I don't think it was escrowed for legal fees. I think it was escrowed because the mayor was questioning the legality of the fees.
Okay.
You guys the new boards need to decide whether anything is escrowed going forward because the transition plan calls for the split back to the storm and sanitary board. So this this board release the escrow? The transition plan releases the escrow to the stormwater board because they are stormwater fees.
That's what
and whatever they choose to do with it, they do with it.
Yeah, they choose.
That's what I read. I just want to clarify that.
Legal bills, then that's what they can do.
No.
All right, good point. Any other questions for Mr. Elwood? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, for all your work on it.
Yeah, I'd like to address that. I know Chris and Ken and Mark in particular and Liz to some extent and John to some extent worked on this plan, but the lion's share of the work really fell on Mr. Elwood's shoulders, and we thank you for the time that you put into that to make it as smooth as possible, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's awesome job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, we have the Willow Creek Watershed Property Acquisition.
So this is the project, the joint project with the county, Willow Creek 700 North. We have been in land acquisition mode, and I am here tonight to report that of the 5 parcels, we have 2 proposed agreements. John Shepard's been handling the acquisition, and so the parcel that we're ready to settle with, the first one is R&B, which is the Lightfoot parcel, for a settlement amount, a purchase amount of $318,000. That number derives from our appraisal. They went out, meaning the property owner went out and got an appraisal. That's the average of the 2. So I would ask for a motion, ultimately, I'll explain the rest, a motion to approve the money to purchase and approve the purchase of that parcel for that amount. Secondly, JBL 120, it's an easement only. We had just an agreed upon number, no appraisals were done, of $29,050. So I would ask for approval of those two purchases at those amounts. And again, that's based on a recommendation from John Shepard, who's been handling the acquisition.
So I guess my question on these, say we approve the purchase of these properties, but we can't secure the other properties. Are we going to own property, then we...
The other properties are going to be secured. I'll report on those as well. So there's three remaining properties. Gottlieb, Burglar/Wood, and then Burglar Trust, 43. There have been offers made on those. Those have not been accepted. So those would go to a lawsuit now, condemnation suit, where again, once we file the complaint, it's answered. Each party would select an appraiser. You'd have an average, and then the court would select a third appraiser, and then from there, the court would determine, unless there's an agreement in the interim, which there obviously can be, then the court would pick a number, and that would be the purchase price. So we're definitely going to be able to purchase the other three. It's just a matter of at what price.
So the issue is that both parties at this point cannot agree on an appraised value for the remaining
Correct, and that's not unusual. It's usually a 50 tuck-in with John Shepard, who's done this for the city for 40 years maybe. It's pretty typical. If you've got 10 parcels in a project, half are going to go to condemnation, half are going to sell. It's really the matter of getting an idea of what as many appraisals would appraise it at as possible.
So budget-wise, where would this put us with how much we were intending to spend?
Under budget. I think we were looking at 1.6 million with the county paying we're paying the appraisal costs and the design costs. If you recall, I think we projected 1.6. I think the numbers that I've seen puts us within that or very close to it, and then the county would pay for the construction.
So which properties would that? We don't have a map, but is it on north of 700, south of 700? Where are these two?
JBL 120 is north of 700. It's up by the development by the new North Shore building. Okay. And then R&B Lightfoot is, I believe, north of 700, off of 700. Okay. And then the Burglar ones are more inland, because I know one of his complaints was he didn't have access to one of his parcels, and I'm not sure where the guy got the parcel.
But nothing south of 700. These are all north.
Correct.
John, I think I have a map.
Yeah,
that I can share with you.
I do somewhere as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen. We had a map at our meeting with Mr. Berg.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I remember looking at what it said.
All right. Any other questions?
So on these three remaining, when you say they go to condemnation,
yes.
Tell us a little bit what that means. Are we forcing them to sell that land?
Yes.
So
as statute allows, it's what municipalities do.
I understand.
Yeah. So I'm asking for, I guess, three motions. One, to approve the JBL 120 purchase at $29,050. Two, to approve the RB Lightfoot purchase at $318,000. And then three, to authorize those three lawsuits.
Can we vote on those separately?
You can.
Make a motion on the 318. The Lightfoot.
Is there a second? Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the $318,000 for the purchase of the Lightfoot property signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
I'll make a motion on the 29, what was it?
29.5.
That amount.
Second. Okay, any discussion on that? All those in favor signify for the approval of the JBL 120 easement at 29.5. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right, that motion carries. We now have the third motion in question, or the third topic in question, which is the authorizing of the lawsuit to eminent domain, right?
Correct.
To purchase the three remaining, to enter into a lawsuit to acquire the three remaining properties.
Correct, and you, if you would wish, you can break those into three separate motions again.
So is there
Accept all three?
there's a motion on the floor to accept all three to move forward in the lawsuit? Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second. Would you call roll on this one, Chris?
Member Clem?
Yes.
Member Cannon?
No.
Member Zilli?
No.
Member Lynch?
No.
No.
Oh, Member Prisco, sorry.
No.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have just a little over 5 minutes left. If we could try to wrap this up. We have one other item.
Utility
Yes,
clerk.
yeah, I was just getting to that point. The utility clerk bargaining representative. Is this Sean here to speak on this? Would you like to come forward, please? Is he the right one?
Right here.
Is the right one? If you could just state your name and who you represent.
Sean Holmanson, I represent the bargaining unit for utilities, local 150.
All right. And what do you, I'm not sure, I haven't handled this type of business in the past. I can say this, I did verify, went to Sean's office and verified the individuals that are seeking to be represented by 150. I verified the cards that they signed. I also had to verify that it represented the majority of the new represented group, and indeed it did. So they're basically asking, there are 9 members, correct?
9 members, I believe, yes.
Okay, and there were 8 cards signed? 8 cards signed. So overwhelmingly, they're asking to be represented by Local 150.
We'll go ahead and move, if they go ahead and join.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, could I put on the record that I've not been involved with this process at all? I've recused myself because I do some work for operating engineers.
That is correct.
Okay. Yes, that will go on the record. In the minutes, please.
Thank you.
So I guess my question is, should we be the board voting on this, since we won't ever be entering into a contract? We just voted on a transition, we just voted on a transition plan and we won't exist come December 31st, so.
Well, they're asking to be represented under our watch.
I think we're fine.
Are
I
the,
have a question.
So.
I understand here, you just, as I understood it, as you said, majority of the clerical will go into a bargaining agreement. What about all clerical go into a collective bargaining?
Well, my
Why are we excluding individuals?
We didn't exclude anybody.
No,
The individuals had the,
We
go
have
ahead.
a 9-card signed. It's my understanding it's going to be voluntary recognition for all of them.
They all are. Okay, I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right, but that needed to be
When
clear.
you said majority of them, I thought, well,
I'm
we'll
just
have to
saying-
the other few.
Yeah, they had to have the majority in order to move to the next step.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right, we have a
This is
motion.
just the utility clerks, right?
Yes.
So,
Right.
and
Utility clerks. Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. All right. Motion passed. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nice, sir.
Take care, Sean.
All right, reception of remonstrances, public input, or any other business. Now is the time for the public or anyone to come forward to speak.
I might be late.
Well, 1 second. I had a question in the front, ma'am.
Is this the city council meeting?
Not yet.
that starts at 6:30.
6:30. We're trying to get to that point.
That's my question.
All right.
We just changed our hats.
All right, before we adjourn, I would just like to thank the board. It's been a pleasure working with you since, I don't know, January, I guess. Time flies when you're having fun. Appreciate the hard work, the dedication, the time that you put in, the effort that you put forth. You certainly have made a difference, and I would like to publicly thank you for all of your efforts. I'd like to thank Mark for initially taking the board over, and his hard work and dedication certainly set the stage for how we perform as a USB. And with that, I appreciate all of your time and all of your efforts.
I'd just like to follow up with what you had to say, and a couple things to mention. This board has been doing this business for the USB for about a year and nine months. Scott, I appreciate your past year sharing. Okay, I think everybody on the city council that sits up here has done a great job and an outstanding job. Constant emails going back and forth, working with Dan, Dave, Don, Candy, Courtney. Without your help, believe me, this board would have not been as good as we are. I think everyone's done a great job with the budget. Sue has done a tremendous job. Colin, you did a great job past year and a half. Projects, just the back and forth working. I mean, this group has worked very hard. And I just can't say enough about you guys. I mean, I'm really proud of everything that everyone's done. I'll also say that our clerk treasurer has done an outstanding job with the budget, keeping us in line, letting us know where we're at. I mean, if there's a question asked by any member on this board, there's an answer coming out of that guy. I mean, he just has it. Attorney Elwood, I've known you for a lot of years. You've done a great job past year, nine months, and just going on record, I thank you once again, and thank you, Scott, for leading us the past year. We totally appreciate it. You've done a great job, a tremendous job, and your leadership took us to this level. And I can only hope that the new boards will function well and will move forward in the manner that this board did, with the dialogue, with working with the residents and making things happen. So, thank you, sir.
Welcome. Anybody else like to comment? All right, with that, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we're adjourned.